I'm giving you my tough guy look, my spy James Bond 007 look with my remote control pretending to be a special James Bond trinket. It's not. Anyway, I have now completed reading all of the Ian Fleming James Bond books, and I'm going to rank them and compare them to the films. I had seen all of the films 11 years prior and had rated them all on Netflix, and I kept my Netflix rankings because I wanted to see ultimately if the book series is better or the movie series. And one thing you'll find out if you try reading the books is that there are very few that are like the movies. The scripts for the movies were drastically changed, and sometimes for the better, to be honest, and sometimes just had nothing to do with the book altogether. So it was a really interesting ride reading these books. I enjoyed reading the book series, but like I said in other book reviews, I've reviewed every single book separately on my channel under the live section. So if you look at my live videos, you can see what I said about each one. And I'll just do a brief recap of each book, and then what I remember from the book, from the movie 11 years earlier. So here we go. The best book, in my opinion, of all of them, and this is going to be a shocker if you've not seen any of the summary videos I've made, the best book was Moonraker, and that was 5 stars. Now, I read these all in order of release, so not in the same order that the movies were released, but I'm going to go from best to worst first, just to give you an overall idea. So Moonraker was the best one. It was a 5. I like Goldfinger next. I gave that a 5. From Russia with Love, I gave it a 5. Live and Let Die next, I gave it a 5. It was kind of more a 4 and change. You Only Live Twice, I gave it a 4. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, a 4. Casino Royale, a 4. And then we got into the latter half ones. Dr. No, a 3. Thunderball, a 3. Diamonds Are Forever, a 3, and that's probably a low 3. For Your Eyes Only, a 3. Octopussy and the Living Daylights, a 3. The Spy Who Loved Me, a 2. The Man with the Golden Gun, a 2. And that was all of the books. So out of 51 total points divided by 14 James Bond books, it's a 3.64 stars rating, which is pretty decent, but it's not out of the park like, hey, every one of these is awesome. So that's the overall for the books. Now, as I go down the same list, I'm going to tell you what I thought of the movies. So the movie Moonraker, which was my favorite book, it was pretty corny, had nothing really to do with the script of the book. I gave that a 3-star. Goldfinger, I gave it a 4-star movie ranking. So not as good as the book. From Russia with Love, I gave it a 3-star. It is a good movie, don't get me wrong, but it's really dated and old. From Russia with Love, the book, I gave a 5, and I gave a 3 to the movie. It's just the age of it I couldn't get past, and it just didn't hit me like the other ones. Live and Let Die, I gave that a 5 book. It was probably more 4 and change. The film ranking, I gave a 5. So I would say Live and Let Die, pretty consistent as far as quality from the book to the movie. That'd be a good one to read and watch if you're doing them in parallel. Then You'll Only Live Twice, I gave the film a 4-star, and that was the same as the book. So pretty consistent there also. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I gave a 4-star to the book and a 3-star for the movie. So the book was better than the movie in that case. Casino Royale. Now this is going to be a little skewed because I didn't like the new James Bond at the time. I gave Casino Royale, the movie, a 2-star and the book a 4. I liked the book better, but now that time has gone by, I've gotten used to Daniel Craig as James Bond, so probably that 2-star was a little harsh. So take that with a grain of salt. That's the way I rated it 11 years before reading the books. Dr. No, I gave the book a 3, and the movie only gave a 2. So I clearly don't like Dr. No. Thunderball, I gave a 3, and I gave the film a 3. So at least it's consistently average. Diamonds Are Forever, I gave a 3. Didn't really like that book very much. Film ranking, 4 stars. I liked the movie better than the book. For Your Eyes Only, gave a 3. Didn't really like that book very much. And I gave the movie a 5. So they drastically improved the script on For Your Eyes Only. And then Octopussy and the Living Daylights is a short story book. So those 2 stories are part of a 4-story collection. I gave that book a 3-star, and I gave both of those films 3-star rankings also. And those didn't have anything to do with the real short stories. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe not entirely matched up with the short stories, but nonetheless didn't rank very high. The Spy Who Loved Me, which I gave a 2, was a ridiculous book. They drastically improved that and made a good movie out of it. I gave it a 4-star. And The Man with the Golden Gun, which was the absolute worst James Bond book, in my opinion, I gave it a 2-star. Also gave it a 2-star movie ranking. So that one just sucks all the way around. And then there's 2 stories that are movie only ranking, Quantum of Solace and A View to a Kill. And the reason I did that is because A View to a Kill had a slightly different name in one of the short stories. And A Quantum of Solace was, I think, just a reference in a short story. Nonetheless, Quantum of Solace movie, I gave 1 star, and View to a Kill got 5. So explain how you could take a little fragment of an idea and make it a 5-star movie, but it happened. So overall, film-wise, I had 56 points divided by 17 movies that corresponded either totally in title or slightly due to a short story reference. And the 17 movies got a 3.29 stars, which is fairly close to the 3.64 book ranking. So it's arguable if you could say that the movies and the books, enjoyment-wise for me, were about the same. The books probably got a little bit of an edge over it. But what I would say about the books is they're more serious. They're not generally as fun, except for a couple of them that were flamboyant. Goldfinger was pretty flamboyant. Live and Let Die was flamboyant, but the most of them were pretty serious, dark, very realistic, made James Bond not a very happy character, had a lot of difficulty, not really suave like you see in the movies. So while the idea of James Bond in the movies is more fun, and that's what we think of him as, in reality, the movies are uneven too. And it's hard to summarize that unless you go through, and watch them all back to back and go, hey, I don't like all these, because some of them just aren't that good. But they are above 3-star average, both book and movie. So it makes it overall pretty okay, but not great, either one of them, honestly. If I had to compare, again, book series like Agatha Christie murder novels or something akin to that, I would take the Agatha Christie stories over the James Bond book reading experience. Perry Mason book reading experience, I like it a lot better. And let's see, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, way better than reading the James Bond stories. Now, that said, there's a lot more James Bond movies than Sherlock Holmes. There's only a few Sherlock Holmes movies that are fairly recent and good. And there's not many Perry Masons. There's a lot of old TV shows that are dated, not very good. But the stories in the books are great. So I still prefer my murder mysteries over my spy novel stuff. But that said, it really was a cool glimpse into the life of a spy and the things that they asked him to do, and it wasn't very glamorous after all. So depending if you want realism or flamboyance, if you want realism, the books are better. If you want flamboyance, the movies are better. If you like a little of both, they're pretty close to even, just above middle average on both. So that's my summary of James Bond. Hope that's helpful before anybody goes into a movie marathon. If you've never watched the 60s version movies, or if you're going to read them all, if you are going to read them all, do them in order of writing, because some of them carry over into the others. So there's a group of 3 later that are connected directly, and then there's one that ends and goes right into another one in the earlier part of the book series. So I highly recommend reading them in the order of the release dates. Whereas the movies, they were released all over the place, not connected to the book order at all. So a lot of weird shifts between book and movie with James Bond, script-wise, accuracy-wise, theme-wise, time frame, everything. It's all different. So don't think that you're going to know everything about James Bond by watching all the movies or by reading all the books, because they're so different.